What's up, college football fans and Mean Green fans? Tony Valente here once again with the Mean Green Show, joined again by Ryan Davenport coming from his cabin out in New Mexico. And we're going to get into this recap of Tulsa and North Texas. But before we get into all that, guys, you already know the drill. If you're a fan of college football or G5 football, consider hitting that like and subscribe button because that is truly all that we talk about. Ryan, thank you for jumping on. I know you're busy out there with business ordeals, but just jumping into the game, man, offensively, what are your thoughts on this North Texas victory?
Decent performance, did what they had to do, quality running game, 200-yard running backs in the game. I think at the end of the game, relying on the offense to bring it home was a critical call, and I think it was the right call. So I think a lot of good things to build on. Solid performance, nothing really. I think that who's the receiver who finally found the end zone there late in the game?
Sides?
No, not Sides. The
Smart,
guy,
Ward.
Smart, who hadn't had a touchdown. It was good to see him catch one. So overall, good game. Would have liked it to be more of a blowout, but I think they scored the points they needed to score.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rogers had a solid day of about 61% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns. We talked about pre-tape 200-yard rushers. Cobbs really still has that running back room. They lose half of their depth, and they're still just trucking along there with Io and Oscar Attaway. And really the ball got peppered around a lot of receivers. Smart, Ward, and Sides all came down with receiving touchdowns. So
Macklin had a big yard day. Only 2 receptions, but 61 yards. He led the team, but didn't find the end zone. So that's normally he finds it, but that they spread around a little more. It seemed like And I feel like watching them, they're always finding a way to get guys open. That's what I'm impressed by. Is everybody knows they're going to pass the ball, and yet they're double moves. They're getting open. Sometimes I complain about Rogers holding the ball a little long, but he does it because he's got guys making plays down the field. So,
yeah, it's probably a fine line of thinking, if he can just hold it a little bit longer, he knows something's going to break. I want to ask your thoughts on this. So Macklin, in my opinion, I think he's the most dynamic receiver on this team present day. We see these young guys like Sides, who knows where they'll be at here in a season or two. But today, if you had to push came to shove, I would go with Macklin. And we've seen his production maybe, slow down a bit. He was getting, 2-3 touchdowns a game. It seemed like there for a stretch. But do you think that's just because teams are scheming him more because they also feel that way about him, which are opening up for other receivers, or do you think it might be something else?
No, I think it's absolutely that. You come into a season like this, you don't have tapes on guys like in this system, the way he's produced. Well, now, 7-8 games in the season, they've got, 5-6 games worth of tape. They've been studying it. They've been shifting and rolling to his side. That's going to happen. Same thing with Rogers at the quarterback level. He's had good games even late down the stretch, but we saw him really have some great games, and I think some of that is just being a mystery to opposing defenses early in the season. So, the trick now as we finish out the year, and then assuming everybody stays and we roll into the next year, it's how do we game plan to use those weapons, even though people know about them and know what they can do. So. And how do we develop the other guys to come along? That's it. You mentioned that, you brought that up. Sides and some of those guys, as they elevate their games, they'll get better as well.
Defensively, what are your thoughts on this game?
More of the same. A lot of yardage. Not really sealing off an opponent. I think that having the ball late in the game. Deciding to keep I think we had a 4th down from our 40, 47 or something of that nature, and going for it on 4th down. Gutsy call, could have gone either way for me. I think it was the right choice to keep it in the hands of the offense for Coach Morris. But, I think it just means we've got to improve a lot on defense. I hate to keep, beating that horse, but we've got to get better in the defensive side of the football. And, that's really a conversation for next year because you're not going to fix that with one game to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, likely not. I mean, some good, I guess, to take away from it. Tulsa was a pretty decent rushing team, and they did hold them to 183 rushing yards, although 434 total yards, so still quite a bit of yardage. But some guys to highlight, I think Nick Nikwasa come back from another injury. I'm not sure how much you know about him. At number 7, he came in from East Central. Arkansas, I believe the Bears, the purple FCS team. He was here last year, then towards ACL, then
East Central Arkansas.
Yes, yeah, he's a hammer when he comes out of that safety position and comes down.
Central Arkansas.
Yes,
it's not East.
yes, Central Arkansas.
They're the Bears.
But I feel like he's the type of guy, and I feel like the young secondary, we saw some of the safeties coming up and helping with that run, in tackling, but especially Nikwasa. Seems like he's really willing to be physical there. And Logan Wilson obviously had the crucial pick there at the end. Logan Wilson's another guy who I think he's done well under Phil Bennett, and I think he's a key part of this defense too. So it's good to see some movement going forward. And Mason Richards, you got that sack, and which is just hard to do in this defense. But that first drive, though, man, Tulsa looked like I said they look kind of like an SEC offense with the freshman quarterback. We talked pre-tape. He's going to be good if he stays at Tulsa.
Yeah, he had a really good game.
Yeah, he's impressive.
Talked about it a lot on the broadcast, and he looked good. And was he a redshirt freshman coming in and not playing as much? A
walk-on too.
Yeah, he's looking good, and who knows if he stays or not. But at the same time, a lot of upside with that kid. And they've got some size. They've got the ability to run the ball. I think we did what we had to do on defense, but we've got to find a way to get better. And I don't know what the answer is. Like I've said before, alignment. We struggle with our alignment. I don't know if it's because of our athletes or we think we got to give more respect or where we're at with that. I don't know. I don't know if we're making bad calls and we're stunting the wrong direction or rolling down to the wrong side. I really don't know what it is. I probably should spend some time looking at the tape a little bit more, but I also don't know the kids as well. And so maybe this is a product of we've got to give 12 yards because that's what our kids have to do to be successful. So I don't know the answer today, but I just know that we've got to get our defense out of the last place location and to be successful. So hate to say that, just the way it is.
Yeah. As far as UAB goes, I mean, both teams are coming in 4-7. So both teams have a 5-win season at stake there. So, I mean, it sounds kind of funny and everything, but I mean, a win going into the offseason, that helps with momentum, especially a 2-game win streak. I think there's a lot that can be taken from that. And, you might sneak into some academic, waiver bowl, or you never know. But I don't know what the spread is right now. I would think we're favored, but I haven't checked. But
you'd think home game, we'd probably get 7 points at least.
You think 7? No, that'd be.
You think it'd be 3.5?
Yeah, I don't know. Are you pulling it up?
Yeah, I'll check it out real quick.
So UAB, they've got a pretty good QB as well, Zeno, and Trent Dilfer, also first-year head coach in this, in the American League. He came from the high school ranks. But do you have any thoughts on the UAB game? What do you think, or how do you think that might go?
I think we can win it. I think we're in a lot of these games. So I think we always have a chance to win these games. It's really going to come down to defense. It's a home game, so I like our chances. So I'd like to see us take home a victory at the end. Looks like we are -3 on the odds right now. So, they're only giving 3 points right at the moment. So, similar records, similar type of year. This is going to be a pick'em game, is what they're going to say. I don't know, who did UAB play this week, or were they on?
Temple.
And did they get a win there?
They won, yeah.
Okay, so they came in and they're riding a winning streak as well. So a lot to figure out for both these teams, but I'd like to see us have the edge, and we can score. So I got to think we're going to be in every game. I'd like to take it. I would say we would probably win that game.
You got a score prediction?
I think we'll win by 3.
3.
Oh
man, there was a former interview of Morris on the sideline going around, and they asked him, what do you got to do to stop this run game? And said, well, we got to tackle their player, and he just kind of left it at that. But that answer kind of reminded me of that little interview he gave. But anyway, Ryan, anything else we need to touch on before we hop off?
Big last game. It's going to matter for recruiting. So making sure we come out and play well. Hopefully people can show up. Thanksgiving games are tough at Daku Stadium, getting people there. So hopefully there's a good turnout, and cheer these guys for one more win. I'll be there. So I hope to see them take one home at home.
Yes, likewise. And as always, go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green.